good. A little bigger crowd today. Happy New Year. New Year's Eve. I wanted to start by sending condolences to the family of Greg Gumble. I think a lot of people don't know this, but when I lived in Florida, he was a neighbor of mine. So during COVID, I'd walk around and we'll go for walks. And we'd oftentimes run into each other. This is normally on.
Yeah.
We'd bump into each other on walks, and he was so great to me. He was a kind, warm person, obviously very accomplished, a legend in the game. And he always dropped, a nugget of wisdom on me. So it was, tough to hear of his passing, but he had an incredible journey, and just wanted to send condolences to his family. As far as the game, thought our guys, it was a tough game in the division, great home atmosphere. U.S. Bank was rocking. It was a great divisional game. I thought we played well. I think as we kind of thought would happen, Green Bay, came back and made some plays there at the end. But we were able to make enough plays as a total team to pull out the victory. Another pretty good dance celebration by the guys, which I was, always excited to see that. But yeah, I think our guys played hard, and this week is, the biggest week of the season. Big test against Detroit. They're playing well. Obviously, they played really well last night. They're really firing on all cylinders offensively at all positions, starting with the quarterback. But they're all playing well. O-line, backs, receivers, tight end. Bench, one of the best in the game as far as calling it. So they're doing a phenomenal job really across the board. So big challenge for us.
Brian, what stood out to you about the way you guys defended the run, Josh Jacobs on Sunday?
He's a very good back, as we talked about last week, and he had some good runs. Patience, finding space. I thought our guys did a good job of setting edges and defeating blocks. And he still found some room there on a couple runs, but overall, we felt like we did a solid job defending the run game. But he's a very good back. They've got a very good run scheme, and like we said, we would have to play really good team defense to get it to limit it as a little bit, and I thought we did that good enough to win the game. But he's certainly a good back, and they had some good runs also.
Jalen Redmond, did you just see him pick up kind of where he left off?
Yeah, I thought he played well. He was disruptive. Made a couple plays in the backfield. Stout. And I think he had like 20 or 22 snaps. He was stout, no snaps. He's got quickness that showed up. He's definitely doing some good things for us.
How do you think Ivan Pace looked in his return from IR?
I thought he played well. The first play of the game, he goes in there, puts a good hit on the guard. He's disruptive in the backfield. I thought he tackled well, and it was a good. I think he had something like 20 or 25 plays there as well, and just to get him going, to get his feet wet, and we're going to need him. We're certainly going to need him this week.
Rob, what did you think of the way that secondary played and the amount of man coverage they played?
I think they played well. Overall. Like we talked about last week, they've got good receivers, good quarterback, good play caller. So we knew we were going to have to, mix the coverages, play some cover 2, play some cover 3, play some man-to-man coverage. The game, went in a way where we felt like we had to play a little bit more man, and our guys were up to the challenge. I think you got to be able to do that. You got to be able to make adjustments in game, and with the offensively they determine that we have to play a certain style. I think this group is flexible enough to do that, and we were able to do that on Sunday.
Well, what did you? There was some discussion yesterday about the hit on Pat Jones and the type of block that it was. I'm curious what your thought is on that. And,
yeah, I mean it's a legal play. Letter of the law, it's a legal play. I know there was some discussions about getting that one out. Obviously, that one didn't pass. I think it's legal. Certainly a legal play. I think when the jet motions, those become hard because you're generating some speed, you're generating some force, and it can be I guess dangerous is the word to use, but and I guess because it's pre-snap and it's something you can control. I'm sure that's all going to be talked about, and the intent of the entire play. But overall, I mean, it's legal. There's there's not much you can really say about it. Thankfully, Pat's wasn't like a season-ending thing, and he's kind of day to day. So. But yeah, I mean, it was it's tough to watch, as we all saw, but thankfully he's good.
Brian, when it comes to the Lions' trick plays, obviously they run more than most teams. How does that change the preparation for you, all the different things, the hook and ladders and having the tackle, try to throw a pass and all the stuff that they're kind of willing to do?
Yeah, I mean, Ben's got a lot in the bag, and you've got to, be ready for all of it. So they've got a pretty dynamic pass offense, run game, screen game, and they got a bunch of trick plays also. But to me, it comes down to fundamentals and techniques, and edge setters setting the edges and playing with the right leverage and coverage, and getting to your landmarks, and kind of those kind of routine things that are kind of boring. I think you do those things over and over and over again. You put yourself in position for somebody to be ready for whatever the trick play is. If you got a contained player, then that player plays contained, and he should be able to kind of handle that. Or a deep player staying deep, or the run player's playing a run. I think more times than not, if you're consistently doing those things and letting other guys handle their responsibility, I think oftentimes what happens is, and it happens with us too, everybody wants to make a play or get involved or run to the football. And Detroit kind of, uses that to their advantage, which is smart by them. So
what all goes into having to be ready for so many fourth downs? Like a lot of times guys will celebrate getting to fourth down. With this team, you time and time again shown the ability to convert from lots of different spots.
I think that's kind of a league-wide trend, I guess that's the word. There's a lot more fourth down attempts than there were probably 5-10 years ago. So I think defensively, well, both offensively and defensively, you got to be ready for that down. It's a big momentum down, I would say, both ways. Obviously, if we get the stop, we get the ball back. If they get it, then they're got a new set of downs and they're rolling. Defensively, you got to have more calls. Offensively, you got to have more calls. It's not just, hey, third down and it's over, which, historically that's what it's been, and a lot of times that's what it is. It's not that way in today's game of football. So we spend a lot of time on fourth down, just like we spend time on all of it. And with this particular group, it's more likely than not that we're going to see 4, 5, 6, 10 fourth down attempts. So we just got to be ready. But if you get to fourth down, that means you're doing some other good things, and all of it counts.
You mentioned Jared Goff. Just what stands out to you about the way he's playing right now?
He's very confident. He's just got a lot of confidence, composure, command of that offense. He knows where he wants to go with the ball. He knows where his receivers are supposed to be. He knows what the protection's supposed to be. He knows what he's looking at defensively. So, if he wants to check to a certain run pass, he does it with a lot of confidence. And, I think that's, a big part of playing that position and really leading the entire group, and he's doing a great job of that.
Hey, Brian, when you look at the number of free agents that you brought in on this team on defense and the success that they've had, what does that say about the collaboration or synergy that you have with the front office in terms of identifying guys that would fit your scheme and then being able, the pro personnel people to go out and sign those players?
Yeah, I think we've had this discussion, a couple times this year. I think at the end of a year or really the start of a new year, collectively, I can only speak for myself and our defensive staff. What's our vision for, how we want to play in the next season, and then what do we have, on our roster right now that we just, that group that we just played with, and what can we add to that group to kind of execute that vision. And so it's, hey, we need linebackers who can beat backs, and we need guys who can, outside backers who can drop into coverage. And that was a lot of the conversation last offseason. And, we watched a bunch of guys, the scouts watched guys in free agency, and we watched them as coaches. And, the collaboration was, hey, the vision is to play, this style. We're probably going to need these types of guys. And thankfully we were able to, get Blake Cashman and get Grenard and get Van Ginkel. But there's, also, Jerry Tillery and Hottie Ward and Shaq Griffin. And, those guys have definitely certainly added a lot to our team also. So, and a lot of it is, not necessarily, I think we've been lucky in that the group's really gelled in a way that has allowed them to really come together and really play well together and trust one another. And in a team sport like this, that's what you need more than anything.
Well, on the fourth down conversions, you guys by far have the highest or the best percentage against. I'm just curious, what goes into being a good fourth down defense? It's such a new thing almost in the league to have, as you say, it's a new trend. Is there a smaller menu of plays that you expect teams to run on fourth down? Or is it just being a good defense in general? I mean, what do you think goes into that?
You're always on top of this stuff.
Every now and then.
Yeah. I would say, I think it's a big down. I think, we talk about trends throughout the league, and I think that's one of them. And so defensively, if there's a trend of more jet motions or more, RPOs or more zone reads, we've got to, spend some time on some of those things, or spend extra time on those, and and try to find ways to defend them. And that's kind of what it's been for fourth down. A third down stop is great, but it almost means nothing if they go for it and pick it up on fourth down. So we got to spend as much time on those downs as well. And Detroit's got probably more than anyone as far as a depth of plays and personnel they can go to in those situations. So that's certainly going to be a tough down for us. But yeah, we prepare. We spend a lot of time on it. To answer your question, we spend a lot of time on third down, fourth down, red zone, 2-minute, early down, really everything, because all of it matters. And you don't know which play is going to be the one that turns the game. So you want to spend time and be, at least as coaches, and our coaching staff does a great job. I mean, they really do. I can't say enough good things about, DJ and Saravo and Pet, Hutch. I mean, they all do a great job. And, we sit in there and go through, all these different situations, and then, they in turn take that information, get it to the players, and we just, do our best to get those guys and put those guys in the best positions, especially in those critical downs.
We talked a lot about Blake Cashman this year and Cheryl's and all that, but how important has he been to what you guys have done?
Yeah, I mean, he's He's, just his, he's just kind of have a natural leadership, a way of bringing people together. He's very smart. He knows how to communicate with, the various people that he's, it's part of his kind of job description to talk to, whether it's D-line, whether it's an edge guy, whether it's, a safety, whether it's a corner. So, his position is one that he's involved with coverage. He's involved in run game. He's involved in a lot of the pass rush. So he's got to have pretty much a general knowledge of really all of it. So yeah, he's been a key member of the defense. He'll continue to be that. So happy we have him. And he really does a good job of just bringing guys together. Every once in a while, he'll, as he's communicating, he'll get into, some jarring back and forth with, certain guys on the team. JG, they got some history from Houston, so those guys go back and forth. I actually like to sit and watch it, because inevitably they kind of get over it, both of them.
In the room that happened?
It's in the room, on the field, it's just kind of part of, some of the things that go on behind the scenes. But those two are funny. But it's like two brothers fighting with each other, or bickering with each other. I shouldn't even say fighting. I'm going here, you said you were going there, and, a little bit of miscommunication. It's actually funny to watch, because there's clearly something from when they were together in Houston. So.
Hey, Brian, Josh Mattel said after the game just how much he wants this game on Sunday in Detroit, remembering them winning the division here last year. Just at what point do you at all talk about the emotions going into this game and just how much this means to everybody?
Yeah, I think, this time of year, it's a lot of talk about the emotions and really trying to keep them in check. Now Telly, he says he wants every game, so let's kind of put that out there. But yeah, I think this time of year it's about keeping your emotions really in check. And look, this is the game they've been playing their whole lives. I think that's one thing that we always talk about. They've been playing this game their whole lives. We've prepared a certain way the entire season. We're going to continue to do that. We're not going to, do less. We're certainly, we could watch a little bit more tape, but ultimately, I think the guys are going to prepare the way they've, prepared the entire year, which is they've prepared well, and then just, handle their responsibility, do what their job is on a particular play, and I think if we do that, play after play after play, and play with that type of discipline, we'll be okay.
Brian, what do you think of the job that the scout offense has done each week? Just how important has that group been to the defensive success?
I think, there's nothing more important than practice. We talk about that all the time. And working the technique, working the fundamentals, so that group, I think they're vital to the success of the team. And we've got a great group over there, kind of led by, Rip, and Lucky Jackson's a big part of that. Jay Sean Jones is a big part of that. Rouse is over there. Those guys, they're working their techniques and working their fundamentals, and we there's a lot of dialogue about techniques and fundamentals between our defensive guys and those guys, because we're all trying to help each other kind of get better. And it's been really fun to watch from that standpoint. I think that's one of those kind of development dynamics that people don't really talk about that's happening, a little bit behind the scenes, on the scout team. And we want them to work their techniques. We want a good look. And I think a lot of guys are getting better over there. And, they're giving us a great look, which in turn helps us execute, on game day.
Just as you go into these games, you've got some guys who have been here before, Stephon Gilmore, Griffin, guys like that, Harrison Smith. How much does experience help, or what do you think that it adds to the defensive group? Did you have a lot of guys who have played in big games like this before?
Yeah, we talked about this last week as a unit. Experience helps. Playmaking helps a lot more. So, young guy, old guy, if you're out there making plays, I think that's what you need in games like this. You need guys to go out there, work their fundamentals, work their technique, and then finish. Make a play. I think we saw that from a couple of young guys last week: Jalen Redmond, Dallas Turner. So, I love experience. I like playmaking. I love playmaking more. So, hopefully that answers.
That's
Good. All right, guys. Thank you.